Michael Jordan is the GOAT, Tiger Woods is the GOAT, Tom Brady is the GOAT. These athletes are the greatest of all time. Michael Cohen is the gloat. He's literally the greatest liar of all time.
Both sides made their final pitches to the jury in closing arguments. Both sides gave the jurors some pretty memorable one-liners.
Michael Cohen, he's the human embodiment of reasonable doubt. Literally. He's literally like an MVP of liars.
You don't get to commit election fraud or falsify your business records because you believe you have been victimized. In other words, extortion is not a defense to falsifying business records.
Both sides gave quite diametrically opposed portraits of who Michael Cohen is, what he said, and whether he can be believed. And not surprisingly, Todd Blanche, Trump's lead defense lawyer, really lambasted Cohen's character.
How is the government going to ask you to convict President Trump based on the words of Michael Cohen? There is no way that you can find that President Trump knew about this payment at the time it was made without believing the words of Michael Cohen, period. And you cannot believe his words.
And of course, the prosecution rebutted that in a quite lengthy closing argument of their own.
I told you then that Cohen is baggage. He's a convicted felon. He has lied under oath. When it went bad, the defendant cut him loose. He dropped him like a hot potato and tweeted out to the world that Mr. Cohen was a scumbag. I'm not asking you to feel bad for Michael Cohen. He made his bed. But you can hardly blame him for making money from the one thing that he has left, which is his knowledge of the inner workings of the Trump phenomenon.
The defense also went after Stormy Daniels. Blanche repeated an allegation that Daniels made this allegation about having sex with Trump in order to earn a profit. Remember, Stormy Daniels gave very detailed and somewhat salacious testimony about what she says happened with Trump in 2006. And what Todd Blanche said about that testimony is that it was designed essentially to humiliate Donald Trump.
They did it to try to inflame your emotions. They did it to try to embarrass President Trump.
What the prosecution said is that's exactly the point. The testimony was difficult to hear. It was cringeworthy. And that's exactly, according to the prosecution, why Donald Trump wanted to cover up that story in the final weeks of the 2016 campaign.
That's the display the defendant didn't want the American voter to see.
Late in Todd Blanche's closing arguments, he essentially told the jurors that they should think very hard about sending a man to prison. And the judge kind of reprimanded Blanche pretty strongly for that comment.
I think that saying that was outrageous, Mr. Blanche. It's hard for me to imagine how that was accidental in any way.
And in this case, there is a potential for jail time, but that will be up to the judge and it's by no means certain, and that's not supposed to be in the jury's mind.
In your deliberations you may not discuss, consider, or even speculate about matters relating to sentence or punishment.
They're only supposed to think about whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty.
This is a very, very, very quick and easy not guilty verdict.
In the interest of justice, and in the name of the people of the state of New York, I ask you to find the defendant guilty.